I like this one, and I mean, this is very clearly what you do. Be precise in your speech.
So in Genesis, one of the things God has Adam do first, so God makes the world by speaking. Okay, so that's the first thing to think about. You're supposed to think like in a sophisticated way about this. The idea is that there's some integral relationship between communication and the structure of being. It's part of the role that consciousness plays in the world, whatever that role is. Language takes the chaos and makes it into things. And so God has Adam name all the animals. They're not even really real until they have names. Now, they're more implicit. That's another, here's an example. Let's say that you're having a rough patch in your relationship and you don't know why. It's unnameable. Is it real? Well, yeah, it's manifesting itself in like a physiological discomfort. Then you talk about it and you name it. It's like, it goes from this blurry thing that's kind of potential, it goes snap, and then it's this thing, right? And then that's a horrible thing. It's like a little poisonous thing, but it's not a whole foggy cloud of potential poison. It's like this little sharp poison thing. And then you think, okay, it's real. It's a little monster, but it's not, it's little at least, and now probably we can do something about it if we can admit to it. So it's this precision that specifies. And like,
so this is a little bit of the Voldemort effect, right? Since you're a Harry Potter guy, they wouldn't name him.
Right.
This is the problem. Right. We got to name him first.
Oh yeah, you got to name him first. Absolutely, because the unnameable is far more terrifying than the nameable. You see that there was a great Blair Witch Project, terrifying movie. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, it's unnamed. There's nothing terrible happens in that movie. It's all the unnameable. It's like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And no matter how terrible the actuality is, it's rarely as terrible as your imagination. Because your imagination, like, it's an old thing. It's seen a lot of terrible things in the history of life. Like, it can put monsters everywhere. And so it's almost always better, it might be better without exception, to name the thing, no matter how terrible it is. And if you can't name it, what that means is that you're telling yourself that you're so terrified that you can't bring your attention to bear on it. And that makes you're the loser, instantly. If it's so terrifying that you cannot face it, it's won. Demonize people. The worst way of demonizing people is to not be able to say anything about them, because then God only knows they're unspeakable. There isn't a better synonym for what's terrifying than that's unspeakable. What you did was unspeakable. It's like, no, you want to bring things out of the realm of the unspeakable. Yeah. That's why I'm a free speech advocate. Yeah. In part, it's like, bring everything out of the realm of the unspeakable.
Because it's also the direct attack on the intellect, isn't it? It's a direct attack. If you can't speak about something, you can't exercise. It's just going to make that box around your brain that much tighter and tighter.
It's deeper than the intellect. It's an assault on whatever role consciousness has in being. It's not just the intellect. Like that's a shallower thing. It's not like it's not important. It's you can't even attend to it. You can't bring it out of the chaos. Like it means you can't participate in the process of creation. It's something that deep. Not good. For like freedom of speech, that's the worship of the logos in many ways. And that's a very deep idea in our culture. The deepest idea of our culture is the logos is creative, and what it makes is good. Right? That's God at the beginning of time saying, he makes things as a consequence of the logos, and he says it's good. That's the idea, is that to bring things out of the murk is a good thing. You don't mess with that, man, not unless you want murk. You don't mess with that. It's the fundamental, it's the most sacred principle of Western civilization. And not only Western, the Taoists know this as well.